Hello, today we're looking at a motor vehicle that if you're a car enthusiast or claim to be, you should be queuing up to buy, although I'm not sure anybody is. It's lightweight, it's got a turbo, and it's got that all-important manual gearbox, which if you ask any car enthusiast, they'll tell you is critical to the emotional enjoyment of a vehicle. And there's the added bonus of simplicity. In a world of legislated safety systems and touchscreens, it feels like a breath of fresh air. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? Let's take a look. Welcome to the Volkswagen Up. No, seriously, hear me out because look, this one has got GTI written on it, and I put it to you that it is the perfect daily car for the driving or motoring enthusiast. Let's start with a few basics. The VW Up was launched alongside the Skoda Citigo and the Seat Mii in 2012. They're mostly the same and essentially crappy little front-wheel drive city cars that appeal to the likes of your nan. They're available with either a 60 horsepower 3-cylinder petrol engine or the range-topping 75 horsepower 3-cylinder petrol engine. How very meh. And obviously Volkswagen thought the same, so banged in a turbo, bolted on a body kit and some badges, releasing the Up GTI variant in 2018. Now, of course, if you're going to bolt on a turbo, we can expect to see an increase in the engine's power output. But what are we dealing with here? 150 brake horsepower? 200 brake horsepower? 250 maybe? It is a turbo after all. They say that the Up GTI has 113 brake horsepower, they being Volkswagen, who in the past haven't exactly been truthful with their figures, so I thought it would be a sensible idea to substantiate their claims by way of a dyno test.
Everybody say hello to Rich from Up and Down, the official, unofficial dyno testing engineer for Auto Shenanigans. Why do you think it is that we like your dyno so much, Rich?
Because you think it's honest.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And how do you think the VW Up GTI is going to do?
I've no idea.
Excellent. Once Rich has strapped this on, we will spin up the dyno and the car and we'll see what the little Up is capable of doing. Do you want to hazard a guess, Rich?
What's it supposed to be, 113?
Yes.
I think it will do it.
Exciting times.
I can't contain myself, yeah. Sounds happy. You ready?
Unlike you.
I wouldn't know. What's happy?
Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Let's do this. What the f*** is that? What the f*** is that?
I don't know.
What is that? What even is that? I don't know. That's not a power graph, that's...
The Himalayas.
Well, I mean, we came here to dyno the car. I mean, we've done that, so we have achieved. So you've delivered on the brief, it's fair to say.
I know what you're thinking, that's not a lot, and it isn't, but I'll let you in on a little secret. It doesn't matter. No, you won't impress your mates down the pub, but if you ask any motoring professional, they'll tell you that the vehicle's weight is more important than outright power. Less weight results in better steering, handling, fuel economy and braking, so when it comes to weight, we want as little of it as possible, and a tiny city car made of tin with minimal crash structure is probably a good way to go about that. Or is it? Well, let's weigh the car and find out. But how does one weigh one's motor vehicle accurately? Turns out, our wonderful government publish a countrywide list of public weighbridges where you're very much allowed to take your vehicle and get it weighed, usually for a small fee. In my case, it was something like £8.50. But until making this video, I had no idea such a facility existed. And if you've got a lightweight Volkswagen race car, you can get a true idea as to what it weighs for a minimal cost. Sure, they're mostly intended for commercial vehicles with heavy loads, but I've got science to do, so...
Don't know what's happening. We're going to have to see if there's a guy here. I'm not really sure. I think I need to get out. I think I need to pay. I don't really know. I'm going to do that and speak to the guy and see what he says. They did not appreciate me being an absolute idiot, but that is the vehicle weight. As easy as that. £8.40. Lovely. Off we go.
Fascinating. So that gives us some real-world figures to work with, and in the context of modern cars, 1,020 kilograms is absolutely all, which is why having only 113 horsepower isn't really the end of the world, because there's no excess to lug about. Well, okay, some excess, but in any case, having less power leads to more fun when daily driving your car. Allow me to demonstrate. Thanks to its fairly short ratio 6-speed manual gearbox, I can redline first gear and not even come close to breaking the speed limit. I can redline second gear and not break the speed limit, and in fact, we're only losing our license once we're well on our way through third gear. And this is excellent because during everyday driving situations, you can absolutely send it everywhere all the time. But what does all of that mean, and how does it translate into a driving experience? Well, to understand, we need to take the city car out of the city and into the refuge or sanctuary for true motoring enthusiasts, the great British countryside, where we find the B Road, which every sunny Sunday comes alive with the sounds and echoes of motoring enjoyment. And it's here that the recipe of lightweight, turbo, low power and manual gearbox all comes together to form a rather lovely cake. And I think the secret ingredient really is the weight, or lack thereof. You can properly chuck this thing about and you don't really brake as such, you just lift off a little bit when it comes to the corners and then power on through because it's got all of the grip. And a turbo, which means you don't need to work that hard to get the car to move because despite its tiny engine, it's got 200 Newton meters of torque, which is ample for something this size. But what I really like about this car is that whilst I go about pretending to be Hamilton McSenna, it doesn't upset anyone else. Let me show you what I mean. As you make progress, your experience looks a little bit like this. But here's what everyone else sees. Driver. Everyone else. The feds won't be interested because you're not able to break the speed limit, probably, and Karen with the local village brigade won't notice a little VW city car blatting past in a state of fury because the fury is achievable at 20 miles an hour. And the benefits don't stop there because one of the main appeals of the Up GTI is the simplicity of everything. Let's be honest, cars go wrong and I'm bored of taking the engine out every time I want to change a headlight bulb that then needs to be coded to the car before it will start, and maybe you're thinking, just get an older car, and yeah, they can be simpler, but they break more often. Ask me how I know, and to me the Up GTI perfectly blends new car reliability with old car simplicity. For example, this is a key. Observe as I use it to unlock the car, place it in a thing called the ignition barrel, turn it and the vehicle starts. And the reason it starts is because the car wasn't stolen last night using wireless relays and the keyless entry. Inside, the simplicity continues. Look, I've got climate control, but if I want more air, I press the button. If I want more heat, I press the button. If I want to change the air's direction, I move the thing. There isn't 7 submenus across 3 screens to go through to adjust your motorised air vents. Sure, you've dialed in the perfect setting, but you're also upside down in a ditch alongside the M4. And if you really want that old school touch, then pick up an Up that has the normal air conditioning because you get some wonderful rotary dials. But the true test of simplicity is down to how easy the car is to work on yourself. Are you even a car enthusiast if you don't at least carry out some routine servicing? And if you aren't, servicing your own car is usually cheaper and you should learn. But is it easy? Let's find out. The first job is to swap out the air filter. It's inside this box attached to the top of the engine, and to access things like the spark plugs it has to come off anyway. There's a couple of hoses, a screw and a hose clip to undo, and then it comes right off. Within all of this plastic is the air filter, and we'll need to remove some screws to get to it. How many, you ask?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9! So there are 9 in total. Do you want to do the honours? I have no idea how this came apart, and actually I wasn't paying any attention, so I have to come back to you for the next service now.
Oh, good.
Air filter done, we can move on to the spark plugs and coil packs. For this, I've picked up some NGK spark plugs because they're cheaper than going to VW, and I've got some fancy aftermarket racing line coil packs because they too are cheaper than going to VW. The coil packs are held in with a single 10mm bolt, although access to one of them is a little fiddly, but we just need to yank this pipe out of the way and we'll be all good.
Should just move out the way enough.
Yeah, easy.
We can then fit the new spark plugs, which looks like a good idea because the old ones are fit for the bin, but that's fair enough because the car's on nearly 60,000 miles and I think they're still the original items. With those all sorted, we can move on to changing the oil. We need to find the oil drain plug and filter, which we assume are underneath the car somewhere as per normal car procedure. There they are. Oil drained, filter swapped, oil topped up, and we are done. Piece of piss that, any moron could do it. And with the point of simplicity well made, I think, we now need to answer the boring question of what's this car like as a car? If you're a car enthusiast, you're less likely to care about any of this because it's all about the driving pleasure with no compromise. But if you're a normal person, it's important. And as a car, it's perfectly acceptable. There's enough boot space to almost call it practical. 5 doors easily get your bitches in the back. There's auto headlights, auto wipers with auto climate cruise control and a premium audio system available as optional extras. The leather steering wheel has been lifted from a Golf GTI, so it's actually a fairly decent item. And it's also got the controls for the audio system and phone connections, which is done via Bluetooth. Sadly, they do come with this rather ugly phone mount on the dash, but that problem is solved by simply installing your phone. And to be fair, I'd rather use my phone sat-nav than any inbuilt system, which will be out of date by last year. Running costs are sensible, with annual tax costing $195 at the time of filming, and that little engine is a peach because on a sensible motorway run it will easily do over 60 miles per gallon. And even when ragging it about, I'm struggling to average less than 44 miles per gallon, so it's excellent on fuel, which I assume is down to its lack of weight. It's not all good though. Drawbacks include possibly the worst ride comfort ever, mainly because of potholes. VW fitted large 17-inch wheels with small skinny tyres, which is great on a quality bit of road, but not in England, which is why this car has 16-inch aftermarket wheels. One can fit larger tyres, and as a result they ride a lot better. We're also adding lightness because the aftermarket wheels are 2 kilograms a piece lighter than the stock wheel. We're improving the ride quality and saving weight. It could scarcely be better. The interior is a bit plasticky. For example, the door cards are just one massive sheet. However, it is at least a decent quality of plastic. I imagine they'll last an eternity. The dashboard, I don't even know what this finish is.
If you have a sweet at the back of the glove box, which falls out the wrapper and you leave it in there, you don't realise it's there, and then you go to pull it out and it's got all fluff stuck to it, it looks a bit like that.
Yeah, it's like that. It's certainly not going to be to everyone's taste, and I suppose it's not the most refined of cars, but it's quieter on the motorway than my Saab, and it creaks a lot less, so it can't be that bad. But that's all minor stuff. The point is, if you're looking for a motor vehicle that combines that car of your youth feel and driving experience with newer car reliability and convenience, that also looks kind of cool, is interesting, is dirt cheap to run, and above all else makes you grin like an idiot every time you drive it, I'm not sure we're going to do much better than the Volkswagen Up GTI. But I have to say that because whilst you probably won't buy one, I sort of did. This is my car now, so if you see somebody going around laughing their arse off whilst bouncing off the limiter at 16 miles an hour, it's me. And on that note, I'm going for a drive. So thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.